is the story of a husband and wife who are both medical professionals that have been sentenced to life in prison in Zambia for the murder of their 14-year-old maid. In what began as a quiet household in Lusaka's Chalala area, a horrifying crime would soon shake the nation. Janet Cholampundu was just 14 years old when she was brought from Manza to Lusaka to work as a maid for a seemingly respectable couple, both medical professionals. Smart Mumba, who is 35 years old, was a medical professional and a university lecturer, and his wife, Dr. Majory Chanda, who is 30 years old, were both new parents to an older son and younger twins. Given their busy careers and a growing household, it was expected for them to seek help with caring for their kids, and so they did. Only the help they sought was in form of a 14-year-old Janet. But on the evening of August 29th, something went horribly wrong. Mumba later testified in court, and according to him, on the night in question, his wife was in the kitchen preparing supper, while the deceased was with the younger twin in the living room watching TV. And he himself was in the bedroom conducting online classes on Zoom. He said he then suddenly heard the babies crying and came to the living room to find out why they were crying. He said when he asked his older son and the deceased why the babies were crying, both could not answer. And Janet was busy watching TV whilst holding the young baby. And all of a sudden, in front of Mumba, Janet dropped the baby. Mumba said the baby fell in a standing position and hit himself on the floor. The baby's eyes were open, but he did not blink for about 5 to 10 seconds. And again, this is all according to Mumba's testimony. Mumba further testified that he tried to shake the baby and called his name, but he couldn't respond and he was stiff. He said he then tried to check the back of the baby's head to see if he was bleeding, but there was no blood, yet the baby was unconscious. Now, I want you to take note of this next statement because it's very important for later. Mumba said that because of the impact that was felt on the baby's legs when he was dropped, his legs are still bent to this day. They are not straight, more like a deformity. Mumba said that when he saw his son lying on the floor lifeless and not moving, he was deeply disturbed, thinking that the baby had died. And during this period, his wife, Dr. Marjorie, came rushing in from the kitchen. And upon seeing the baby lying on the floor and not moving, she started screaming and shouting before finally giving her the baby CPR. Mumba said the situation enraged beyond control and that he tore the belt from his trousers and unleashed a relentless barrage of lashes upon the young girl. So this is very interesting. Here we are being told that the baby was unconscious, and the first thing that a parent, moreover in this case, a medical professionals would do is to remove his belt and unleash a barrage of lashes on this 14-year-old girl. Well, what followed was a violent outburst. Both Mumba and his wife admitted to beating Janet, and in an attempt to flee from the beatings, Janet ran to the kitchen where she allegedly, according to Mumba, bumped into her hot pot of porridge which spilled on her. The burns were very severe. Mumba said the pot fell and the porridge spilled on both of them being Mumba and Janet. The porridge had spilled on Janet's head, both sides of her cheeks, around the neck, and both hands and legs. She had very severe burns. Mumba said the porridge poured on both of his hands as well, and on his trousers on both legs. He said he still has visible scars on his right wrist. In his testimony, Mumba said that after the incident, he rushed to the tap to cool his burns because they were painful, while Janet ran outside. As Janet was running outside, she fell. And this is when Mumba left the belt in the kitchen and took a bucket of water outside, which he started pouring on Janet, starting from the head, the neck, the legs, and the hands, while she was lying on the floor. After pouring water on her, Mumba asked Janet to get inside, but according to him, she refused. Or maybe clearly it's because she was severely injured, but no, according to Mumba, she refused. So what did Mumba do? Well, he started dragging her by one hand on a rough concrete surface. So this is a girl that is already severely bent, and he is dragging her by one hand from outside on a concrete surface. After dragging her from outside into the kitchen, Mumba recounted that his wife then proceeded to beat the poor maid with a belt. Yo, this is already a helpless child that has already been severely bent at this point and barely able to walk. And what you do as a doctor is continue beating her? Like, how deranged do you need to be to treat a child like that? Well, and at this point, according to Mumba's testimony, the baby had already been resuscitated and was awake. And that is if you even believe their story that the baby fainted. Mumba stated that after a while, his wife prepared food and called him and everyone to eat, but he refused because he was still seething about the incident that happened. Janet was also summoned to the table to eat, and afterwards, she proceeded to the kitchen to do the dishes. So, not only did they severely bend her, but after severely bending her and beating her to a pulp, they still asked her to do the dishes. They said when Janet was asked if she was okay, she said she was in pain from the porridge burn and the bruises that she sustained outside. And so they gave her Panadol, paracetamol, and told her to make her bed in the passage where she used to sleep. And they went to sleep. According to Mumba, they had booked an appointment at UTH for her the following day. Now, remember when I told you that Mumba said that because of the impact that was felt on the baby's legs when he was dropped, his legs are still bent, they are not straight, more like a deformity, and the baby became unconscious? You do remember, right? Do you think that the events that I just told you now that followed the baby being dropped reflects how a normal parent, moreover, in this case, both medical professionals would act if in fact their baby's fall was so severe that it became unconscious? Again, wouldn't the normal thing be to call an ambulance or perhaps rush the baby to the hospital? Well, clearly not according to this couple. Not according to this couple. So the next morning, Janet was found unresponsive. Mumba said that he attempted CPR, and while resuscitating her, this is Janet, while resuscitating her, she started removing water from the nose, the mouth, and the abdomen, and her abdomen sounded as if it was fully occupied with water. Again, this is all according to Mumba's testimony. But Janet was caught, her pupils dilated, and her breathing labored. It was too late. She was dead. The couple then took her body to the UTH police post to get a brought in dead certificate, claiming that she had died in her sleep. But police suspected foul play because of the multiple injuries on the body. And this is when an investigation was opened and the couple was arrested. In court, Janet's mother, her name is Constant Mwelwa, shared haunting details. She recorded a phone call from her daughter the night before she died, where Janet told her that she had been beaten. However, that call was cut short when Marjorie grabbed the phone and threatened her to send money for transport for her daughter if she did not want to receive a dead body. And she also told her that Janet was being problematic and stealing baby porridge. And the following day, Janet's mother received a call that her daughter had died. The case against Mumba and Chanda unfolded over months. They denied killing Janet and claimed that the burns were accidental and that Janet was injured while trying to flee. And they tried to explain away some of the injuries by saying that they dropped her 3 times as they tried to carry her dead body to the university teaching hospital. And when questioned about the injuries on Janet's fingers and missing fingernails, the couple said that Janet had cut herself while cutting vegetables. But the court heard more than just their version. A neighbor who came to testify before the court said he heard the deceased crying on the day before she died. He said that he heard the girl cry loudly, and after a while, the voice faded away. He also testified that he used to see Janet waking up every day in the morning, but that the following day after the cry, he never saw her again. Moreover, forensics revealed trauma inconsistent with a simple fall or burn. The cause of her death according to the forensic examination, was multiple blunt force trauma and excessive bleeding. Experts also testified that Janet was given a slow and agonizing death where the skin and nails were traumatically and systematically stripped off one by one. So this is not something that just happened in one beating. She sustained systematic injuries. These are injuries that were inflicted systematically over a period of time. It's not something that happened only in one beating. On April 1st, 2025, Justice Vincent Sloka delivered the verdict. The evidence was overwhelming. Multiple blunt force injuries, a delayed response to serious burns, tampering with the crime scene, all this pointed to guilty. The verdict was clear. They were both found guilty of murder, and the once respected couple were sentenced to life imprisonment, separated from each other and from the society they once vowed to serve. It was reported that when the judge read the verdict, the courtroom, which was filled with friends to the accused, fell silent, while the couple themselves in the dock showed no up. Before the sentencing, their defense lawyers called for mercy on behalf of the couple, requesting the court to exercise leniency, considering that the duo are parents and two of the children, the twins, are being raised in the prison system, and the now convicted people are first-time offenders. Their lawyers also said that the couple are part of normal church attenders of the Seventh-day Adventist Church who are helping other members of society. Janet's story is not just one of violence. It's a cautionary tale about trust, abuse of power, and the vulnerability of young girls thrust into domestic labor. In his final words, the judge remarked that this death, as painful as it was, could have been avoided. Parents must not hand over children to strangers under the guise of financial need. And when addressing the couple, the judge concluded that the death of Janet, whom the two blamed for eating their baby's oatmeal and also being stubborn, would not have happened if only the two were a little more tolerant to the victim who had come into the town with a new environment. He told them that if the unruly behavior of the child exhausted them, they could have left her with her parents. They should have sent her back. She was not their child. Now, their parents themselves who have 3 children, and they've deprived their children of being of the love of being with parents. And all this is something that could have been avoided. And also, there are some conspiracy theories that are going out there on social media, with some people saying that it was probably the wife that was beating Janet, and the husband just admitted or took up the blame to say he was the one that beat her to protect the wife, so that the wife could have remained outside to take care of the children. But to me, my take is, it doesn't matter if it was only one of them that was beating the child. Both are guilty as the other, because first of all, these are two people who are financially well off. So they're getting paid enough money for them to have hired a professional nanny to take care of their children. And I'm just thinking, are there no laws in Zambia to protect children from child labor? Because this is child labor. And I think that they should have been charged for that as well. Not just for murder. They should have been charged for child labor as well. And the next thing is why both of them are just as guilty as the other, even if, let's say, hypothetically, that only one of them was beating the child. Okay? Because the injuries that Janet had were systematically inflicted, and they were very severe. She had very severe injuries. So obviously, at some point, one of them might have seen these injuries on the child, okay? And they should have reported this somewhere, either to the police. They should have cautioned their partners to stop beating the child. They should have done something, but neither of them did something. To me, that simply means that both of them were complicit. Both of them are just as guilty as the other, even though it's not going to bring back Janet. But I think this should act as a cautionary tale to all those people out there who are employing children. So if you found this story compelling, please share it. Let's raise awareness and protect those who cannot protect themselves. This was the story of Janet Cholampundu. Her voice may be gone, but her story must be heard. Again, if you like this story, please don't forget to subscribe down below, like, share, and comment. And until next time, stay safe and stay curious.